You know what's strange about people who ride, not drive, ride? Motorcycles, dirt bikes, horses, it doesn't matter which. Something happens to the way they see the world that never fully switches off. Not the reckless ones, the real ones. The ones who've logged enough miles that their nervous system rewired itself without asking permission. Not for a trophy, not for a personality trait to put in a bio. For survival, mile after mile, until the wiring simply became who they are. They walk into a room and they're already reading the exits. They cross a parking lot and they've already clocked the car about to pull out without looking. They sit at a red light and their eyes are moving in 3 directions while their body stays completely still. Most people call this good reflexes. They call it luck or paranoia or being that person who's always a little too alert. They never ask the question that actually matters. Where did you learn to see 3 seconds into the future before most people even notice something's changed? Psychology is starting to catch up to something writers have known for decades. Some are calling it writer's intelligence, and if you've never heard that term before, that's exactly why this matters. When you spend enough time on 2 wheels or in the saddle in an environment where a single missed cue can genuinely end you, your brain doesn't just learn how to ride, it rebuilds itself around risk. Your visual system starts prioritizing motion over detail. Your amygdala gets faster at flagging danger before your conscious mind even catches up. Your body learns to process feedback, vibration, wind shift, weight transfer as a language. This isn't recklessness, it's the opposite. It's a mind trained by consequence to never stop calculating. And once that training sets in, it doesn't stay on the bike. It follows you into meetings, into relationships, into ordinary afternoons where nothing is actually wrong. You just assume everyone reads the world the way you do. They don't. Here are 7 signs you're carrying writer's intelligence, and most people around you will never fully understand it. Do you have it? Let's find out. Sign 1. Your eyes never settle. Your eyes never settle on one thing. You've probably never watched a movie, sat in a meeting, or walked down a street without your eyes moving in patterns most people don't even know exist. Near, far, mirrors, exits. It's automatic. You don't decide to scan a room, you just already have. Writers call this visual sweeping. On a bike, your eyes have to work 3 seconds ahead of your body at all times, because by the time you see the hazard, you're already too close to it. That habit doesn't turn off when you park. The cost? You can't watch a film without noticing the boom mic. You can't sit with your back to a door. The gift? You see the version of the world everyone else is walking straight through, blind. Sign 2. You predict before they move. You know what a car is about to do before the driver does. You felt it. The car that hasn't signaled but you know is changing lanes. The pedestrian who hasn't stepped off the curb but you know is about to. You're not guessing. You're reading micro cues, wheel angle, weight shift, hesitation, faster than the driver is even processing their own decision. This is anticipatory perception, and riders develop it out of necessity, because reacting after the fact on a motorcycle is often too late. Your brain stopped waiting for confirmation a long time ago. It started predicting instead. People call you paranoid right up until the thing you predicted happens exactly the way you said it would. Then, just as quickly, they forget you called it and go right back to being surprised by the next obvious thing. Sign 3. Chaos slows you down. When everything goes wrong, you go quiet. A car cuts you off, the road turns to gravel, someone panics beside you, and something in you drops into a strange, focused stillness. Time seems to slow down. Your hands know what to do before your mind finishes the thought. This is a real physiological state. Under acute, familiar stress, the brain can shift into a mode where perception sharpens and processing speeds up, sometimes described as time distortion under threat. Riders live inside this state in small, repeated doses until the nervous system starts treating crisis as just another Tuesday. The paradox is this: you're unshakable in emergencies and strangely restless in ordinary, quiet moments. Chaos feels like home. Calm feels like you're missing something, like a warning light you can't quite locate. If these first three signs are already landing somewhere real, I want you to know this isn't in your head. Drop the number of the sign that hit hardest so far. I read every comment, and keep watching because the next four go a lot deeper than reflexes. Sign 4. You feel it before you see it. You feel things before you see them. A shift in road texture under your tires, a change in wind before it hits your chest, the exact moment traction starts to loosen beneath you. This kind of full-body listening doesn't stay on the road. You feel tension in a room before anyone speaks. You feel a conversation shift before the tone actually changes. This is proprioception trained to an extreme degree. Your body's sense of itself in space, refined by thousands of hours where ignoring a subtle signal carried real consequences. Most people rely almost entirely on sight and sound. You've built a third channel most people don't even know they're missing, and once you notice it in yourself, you can't unsee how blind everyone else is walking through the same room. Sign 5. Trust is earned, not given. You trust your gear more than you trust most people's promises. You check your tires before every single ride, out of habit, not fear. You know your bike's quirks the way most people barely know a close friend's moods. But with people, that trust builds slower, much slower. You watch for consistency, not charm. You notice when someone's actions don't match their words, and once you notice, you don't forget. This isn't coldness, it's calibration. You learned that one small, ignored detail on a bike or in a relationship is how bad things happen, so nothing gets a free pass anymore. You watch how someone treats a stranger, how they handle a delay, how they act when nothing is riding on it. When you finally do trust someone completely, it isn't naive, it's earned, tested, and real. Sign 6. Stillness feels heavier than speed. Standing still feels heavier than moving fast. Long stretches with nothing scheduled make you restless in a way you can't quite explain. A weekend with no direction feels harder than a 12-hour ride. Motion has always been where your mind clears. Stillness is where the noise gets loud. Most people see this restlessness as something to fix, but research into flow states suggests that people who regularly practice full-body, high-focus activity often struggle with unstructured stillness precisely because their nervous system has learned that engagement equals safety. It's not a flaw, it's a mind that learned to think best in motion and simply hasn't been taught how to sit still without feeling like something's wrong. Give it a throttle, a trail, a direction, and the noise disappears almost instantly. Sign 7. You live in the present. You live entirely in the present because you felt how easily it can end. Every ride carries a quiet awareness most people spend their whole lives avoiding. You felt how fast everything can change in half a second. That awareness doesn't make you reckless, it makes you present in a way most people only talk about in therapy. You notice sunsets, you call people back, you don't wait for someday. This is not fear, it's clarity. When you've stared down how fragile things are, wasting time stops feeling like an option. You stop postponing the things that matter, because you already know postponing is a bet you can't guarantee you'll win. Here's what's interesting. The one who's always scanning looks paranoid. The one who predicts outcomes looks pessimistic. The one who feels the road looks overly intense. The one who goes quiet in a crisis looks detached. The one who trusts slowly looks guarded. The one who needs motion looks restless. But what looks like a collection of odd habits is actually a mind rebuilt by consequence, sharpened by a kind of risk most people will never choose to take on. It shouldn't be romanticized, and it shouldn't be dismissed either. The intelligence is real, so was the cost of building it. You didn't just learn to ride. Riding taught your entire nervous system a different way of moving through the world. Not louder, not slower, sharper. And the fact that most people will never fully understand it isn't a flaw in you. It's proof of exactly where you've been and exactly what you had to become to get here in one piece. So, do you have it? Drop the number of the sign that hit closest to home. I read every single one. And if you're not subscribed yet, this channel is built for people who think differently because of what they've lived through, mile by mile. See you in the next one.